What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Buffmetal Justin, here to give you my top 10 favorite death metal albums. This platform doesn't even need another one of these videos, alright? There is a million people out there with better metal takes than me, probably, who are more educated. These are just my 10 favorite. I'm going to rattle them off for you. Hopefully I can connect with some of you guys and talk about how fucking great these albums are, because I really do stand by all these 100%. I don't really want to beat around the bush too much. Let's just get right into it. Starting off at number 10, I am going with Putrid Pyle's House of Dementia. So there's a few reasons I chose this album, and it's kind of in part because, one, I love what Putrid Pyle represents. To me, it's like these one-man brutal death metal bands. I mean, I really got into extreme metal through the one-man black metal shit. And say what you will about that. Like, I'm not even that big of a fan of that shit anymore, but I was really captivated by the idea of, like, one guy making all the riffs, programming the drums, and then on stage by himself, he's up there, you know, homie Sean from Putrid Pyle, who's like the mastermind behind this project. Watching him up there on stage by himself, letting it rip, there's nothing cooler than that to me. Like, I don't know why it just hits so hard. As far as the music goes, yeah, House of Dementia is going to be probably my favorite project by him. I've definitely spent many hours in the car driving around listening to this bitch. Favorite songs, I mean, it's got to be said that the intro is dope, but I love Involuntary Suicide, God of Degradation, which is like probably the best song on the album. 25 Cromwell Street, the Gore box, those are really good. Yeah, man, this is just like a fantastic album. I don't want to sit here and beat a dead horse too much. But yeah, man, this is just one of my favorites of all time. I mean, the album art is freaky. The title is freaky. This is just one of my favorites. I got the vinyl from Vinyls of the Mutilated. If you haven't checked out Putrid Pyle, I highly recommend you do so. This album is a 10 as far as I'm concerned. So House of Dementia, check it out. Next up, Epitaph by Necrophagist. You say what you want about this band. So many people hate this band for no reason, man. I am such a huge, huge fan of this album, man. This is just straight neoclassical riffage. I think Mohammed, the guy, the mastermind behind this band, I think he thanks Beethoven in the liner notes here, because he definitely steals from a lot of that, classical style. I think he might have gone to college for it. Regardless, this is some of the best guitar work you will ever hear. I don't really understand how anyone could, play guitar and not love this album. This is some of the most unique sounding death metal. It's like, if you haven't by freak chance heard Necrophagist, it's very technical death metal. It's really a toss-up between this or Onset of Putrefaction. Some of my favorite songs are on the other album, including Extreme Unction, which is probably my favorite Necrophagist song, but I think this album as a whole is a little better. Obviously, Stab Wound, when it comes in, it goes so freaking hard. Only Ash Remains, Symbiotic in Theory. It's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 album. And again, I've spent many a day cruising around to this thing. But yeah, it's got this real, like, almost creepy, haunted sound to it, buried in these super technical, awesome riffs. And yeah, it's just some of my favorite metal of all time. I don't think it really gets better than this as far as tech death is concerned. So if you haven't listened to Epitaph by Necrophagist, check it out. If you have listened to it and you didn't like it, go clean your ears out and go put it back on, because this thing rules. Next. Intrauterine Cannibalism by Malignancy. This one's just creeping on the list. It's kind of not new to me, but I've been listening to it a lot more in the past, like 2 years or so. This album it's a 10. Again, like, I listen to this thing so much now. It's become one of those albums that's like, if I don't know what to listen to and I just want to throw something on, especially at the gym or whatever, this is a default. It's always going to be a good vibe. I'm really a big fan of Ron and Danny, the guitar player and the singer. Danny had this line in an interview I was watching where he was talking about, like, new metal albums, and he was saying, like, guys, stop just gurgling into the mic, say something with what you have, like, be an artist. And I don't know, man, like, kind of, not that I usually care about who the musicians themselves are. I'm more of like all right, just give me the product kind of guy. I want to see what you made. But, like, I really like those dudes, and I think watching the guitar player too, Ron, just the way he runs around on stage and shit, he's got a very distinct way about him, and his techie guitar playing is fucking unreal. And he's touched some other awesome projects. He's worked with, like, Mortician and shit, Pyrexia, a bunch of shit. But yeah, man, I just think they're really great artists, and this album is really kind of a 10. It's something that I think that even if you're not into death metal, I don't know how you could throw this on and not be like bobbing your head. This is like, they could have had Malignancy play in that scene in Ace Ventura instead of Cannibal Corpse, you know, because it's just such good, like, you could picture a bunch of people in a loaded club, like, just absolutely ridiculously slamming out to this shit. And man, goddamn, got to see him at Dead by Dog, and goddamn, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. You guys fucking rule. I've watched that on YouTube like a million times since too. But anyways, Intrauterine Cannibalism. If you haven't listened to this, definitely check it out. It is easily one of my favorite death metal albums of all time. So on to the next one. All right, another one everybody knows, Pierced from Within by Suffocation. There's not really much more I can say about this that others haven't said already. Yeah, Pierced from Within, man. So my story with this and why I love this album so much is I think I'd been at a standstill with death metal. I'd taken a break from it, and I don't know what I was listening to at the time, but it wasn't death metal. I'm not like a straight, you know, wee, poser alert. I'm not a straight I only listen to death metal kind of guy. I listen to a shit ton of music, but I love death metal. It's probably my favorite. The older I get, the more I love death metal. But regardless, I was kind of on a lull with it for a while, and it was like a cold winter like day, and I was driving around, and I think it just got recommended to me on Spotify or some shit. I'm not sure, but I threw this album on, man, and it really, really clicked and sent me back into death metal so hard. And I remember, honestly, smoked a bowl to it. Whoops. But after sitting there smoking the bowl and just literally just listening to this thing, it felt like I was taken to another realm, you know? I just couldn't believe it. This album really blew my mind. I don't even like naming tracks off it because it's like, obviously, how do you not know that Thrones of Blood, Depths of Depravity, the Synthetically Revived, like everything on this is just banging front to back. It's not really something that anyone needs to hear much more about. I'm just telling you what it meant to me. This album really, in a stone stupor, came to me, and goddamn did it rock my world. So now it's one of those, again, that I can revisit time to time and just appreciate as one of the great metal albums ever. So Suffocation, Pierced from Within. Carcass, Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious. However the fuck you say the full title. I never even learned it. I barely even learn the song titles to this thing. You know why? Because I don't need to. I just throw on the fucking album and I rock out to it. This is one of the best progressive death metal albums of all time. Man, you know what's crazy is I actually think I got into Carcass clones before I got into Carcass. I was never a big Carcass fan. Until I was going to say until this album, but it was between this and Symphonies of Sickness. But those two albums I kind of found around the same time. And suddenly I was fucking obsessed, you know? Like, it was one of my biggest, like, 180s I'd done on a band. For a while I held out that I was like, oh yeah, man, I don't really fuck with Carcass. That's too blah, blah, blah. But again, just one day after revisiting it a few times to try and see what the fuck it was that people were hyping so hard, it just clicked. And again, man, I've talked about this in other videos. Like, I think one of the most underrated things you can do in music is return to something later, you know? Like, don't listen to something once and not like it and then say, oh, fuck that, it sucks. Like, dude, sometimes you need to go back to it, especially with weird, you know, complicated proggy albums like this, you know? And goddamn, I'm happy I did because, dude, it's just like, obviously, Corporal Jigsaw Quandary is probably my favorite song. Oh, man, I saw him play it live, and it's just so sick. You never get tired of that drum beat. You know what I'm talking about. That shit, every time I hear it, it comes in so hard. I can't see, I'm smiling already. It just gets me fucking going. This album fucking rules. I mean, again, it's one of those ones, no point in me reading off the track list because you could say every song's a 10, but they really are, man. So if you haven't heard Necroticism, fucking check it out. Carcass, awesome shit. At this point in the video, I'd just like to throw it out there that I am also a personal trainer. Listen, if you guys are trying to lose a few pounds, if you're trying to shred while you shred, you know, hit me up. Go on Instagram. I'm Buffmetal Justin. I'd love to get you in shape. I'd love to get you on a fitness plan. I try and keep the shit as simple as possible. So if you're looking for a fucking easy couple days a week just to get you in some better shape, get you feeling good, hit me up. Now back to the video. A word from the sponsor. Next, Gore Metal by Exhumed. The Exhumed years, when I was really heavy into Exhumed, man. This was like, I don't know, man. It was just such a good time. I have such fond memories of listening to this thing. Another band that I wasn't crazy about when I first heard them. I was like, I don't know if I get it. I can't really hear what's going on in this fucking album. Revisited it one day, and holy fucking shit, man. I love it. It doesn't get catchier than this. Favorite songs on here. In My Human Slaughterhouse. So underrated. Such a fucking good song. Deadest of the Dead is awesome. Enucleation, however the fuck you say that. And obviously the big hits on this one, like Necromaniac and Open the Abscess. They're all great, man. It's just, again, 10 out of 10 album front to back. Matt Harvey, and especially Raw Sewage, man. I always kind of joke with myself that everything Raw Sewage touches turns to gold in showers, you know. See what I did there? Yeah, I just love pretty much every project he's been a part of. So if you haven't listened to it, please listen to Gore Metal. It's one of the all-time greats. Next. All right, sticking with the Raw Sewage vibe, we are going with Impaled's The Dead Shall Dead Remain. Man, this is just one of the most unique death metal albums you will ever hear. There is nothing that quite sounds like this. It's melodic and brutal at the same time. Trokar is probably my favorite song on here. That fucking riff, that shit gets me so hyped up every time I hear it. Everything else on here is great too, man. You know, it's a front to back, all killer, no filler album, and I've always kind of been obsessed with it since discovering it. I feel like this one has to go down as more of a classic than people give it credit for. I really do think this is what death metal is all about. It's low down and dirty and lo-fi, and it sounds gritty, but it's really got heart and character and like a good bit of like slapsticky kind of comedy in it. It's everything I'm looking for in death metal. We're in the top 5 at least. It definitely belongs in my top 5 here. God damn, man, I just love this thing. I absolutely love it. So if you haven't listened to Impaled's The Dead Shall Dead Remain, please do so. You have no idea what you're missing. This is just one of the greats. Next up, number 3, Blood Incantation Starspawn. IDGAF, what anyone has to say about Blood Incantation. This album, to me, is one of the things that, to be honest with you, got me into death metal heavy around 2016, 2017 when this came out. I was really getting into the shit like harder then, like I was starting to appreciate shit more, and this album had come out, and I would take mushrooms and I'd sit around and I'd listen to this thing, even with my friends who didn't like listen to death metal. Dude, there is so much fucking heart and riff and like just soul put into this album, and it doesn't sound like anything anyone else has ever made. Like, it really does sound like space. This is another one of those ones that it's like, every song on here is perfect all the way through, but not only that, every riff is perfect. Fucking the Vitrification of Bloods Part 1 and 2. Dude, I remember just sitting there in my basement, like, when I first heard this, just going, God damn! Dude, that is the coolest thing I've ever fucking heard. By the time you get to Meticulous Soul Devourment, the little acoustic break, it hits me in my core. You know, Starspawn is the peak of Blood Incantation, in my opinion. I don't think they ever topped this. And the stuff they do now is cool, and like, you know, I've seen them a handful of times, and I've had so many good memories to Blood Incantation. This was it, man. Starspawn really just moved me. So if you haven't listened to Starspawn, check this shit out. Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. Probably anticlimactic for most people. My number 1 probably will be too, but what can you say about this? This was when it all clicked. This is when death metal made sense to me. You know, I heard this album and it was like so cold and so killer, and it actually, for a minute, dude, I was a little shook. I'm not going to lie to you. The first time I heard this thing, especially in Hammer Smash Face, when you get to that scream where he's like, Gah! You know, he does that fucking shrill high pitch. I remember going, holy shit, dude, this is fucking freaky. I don't think I have to go through the track list on this. I mean, that's really it. There's not much more to it than I just fucking... this kick-started my journey into death metal, really. I mean, and I think it did for a lot of people, so I don't think I'm alone in that, and I don't think I'm going to say much more about it. So, number 2, Tomb of the Mutilated. Here we go, my number 1 favorite death metal album of all time, Human by Death. What is it that makes this my favorite? Well, Chuck is kind of my musical idol, philosophical idol in a lot of ways. He talks about shit I actually fucking care about in his songs, and like, dude, I love horror-based things and like scary music and, you know, real nasty shit, but Chuck was really hitting something to me, especially on this album, that was very personal and felt very human. And from the opening riff on this thing, on Flattening of Emotions, it was just like, again, some things just hit you different, you know, and listening to that song, listening to the entire album after that, Suicide Machine was one of the first death metal songs I actually ever got into way back. I remember before I even really liked death metal, I listened to this album. I vividly remember it. I was mowing a lawn, and that song Suicide Machine came on. It might have been the first death metal song I ever liked. Regardless, man, it just hit different, you know? And some things, and I guess that's the thing about great art, man, is sometimes it's a little beyond words, and things just hit you in a place where, man, only you get it. And that's the beauty of art, dude. And I think the beauty of something like Human by Death is that I can't really express it to you by telling you how great the guitar riffs are, or by telling you how much I love, you know, some of the themes and messages in the songs, or like, you know, how I love Chuck's approach to music. I can just tell you that this is it to me, man. This is like everything I'm ever looking for in death metal. Feels very genuine, very true. And yeah, man, this is an album that sticks with me. So if I was to have one death metal album to take with me into the desert, it'd probably be Human by Death. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see your lists, you know, comment them down below. I really know these videos are pretty overdone. That being said, I don't think it ever gets old, really. I always like seeing what other people have to say, new channels, when you put out your top 10, and I don't know, it's kind of like a milestone, right? Like, I was kind of excited to put this out, so yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, what your favorites are, and like I said, if you need help with fitness or getting yourself into shape, please contact me on Buffmetal Justin, you know, on Instagram, or comment below and I'll send you the information. Regardless, love to get metalheads shredded. So, all right, guys, enjoy your day. Thank you for watching.